Like I said, man, he's played in such a great wide variety of bands, and I believe right now I believe he's still playing with John Fogarty, which must be a really cool gig because there's so many great songs that you must be playing on tour every night. He's got a new project called Firstborn, and let's welcome into that Jamieson show, James Lomenzo.
John Jamieson.
He's calling in.
I'm calling in, dude.
You doing the call in? Are you app adverse or are you having?
No, I am sharp as a tack, but I don't know why it's not working. Here's the deal. I got showered, I got cleaned. I wanted to look so pretty for you, my friend. but Skype has got a big middle finger up, and Zoom crashed. So what can I say? I have a computer, but I don't have the means to get to you. So I do have a phone, and I'm glad to be here.
Good. Okay. So if Chris is able also to call in, then we'll put up a fancy.
I'm going to play the part of Chris today, and I'll tell you why. He just sent me a text. He's working for Habitat for Humanity, and they have those big storms where he lives. He's down in Georgia, and he is working his ass off trying to help out.
Well, you always love to hear metal people doing good deeds. I always say that on the show. And so we'll have you. And I'm sorry you showered unnecessarily. And
No, it was necessary.
But I feel like you fell into, because in your early days, obviously White Lion, and then even after that, you were always you always cleaned up well. You were showered. You had a nice shave, and then Zakk Wylde ruined you. I mean, you never lost that beard. It's still there, I'm assuming.
No, I think what actually happened was when I joined White Lion, right? I finished playing with Bobby Rondinelli, who used to play drums in Rainbow. And I used to occasionally jam with Richie Blackmore and stuff like that. I was pretty young punk, but, I was pretty good at what I was doing. But anyway, I was pretty scruffy. I was like into the whole hippie blues guy thing. And so when I joined White Lion and I got there, I didn't really get a grip on what the 80s thing was becoming. And Mike Tramp immediately said, okay, so now we're going to get your hair permed and, you got to shave that beard. And so I actually kind of started closer to where I ended up right now. So I just cleaned up and dressed like a superhero just to do the 80s hair thing.
All right. So you just sort of went back to your natural state when you joined BLS.
On the ascent of man, I'm definitely declining back to where I started.
Okay, cool. And since this is your band, Firstborn, and I should say it's Firstborn with an E at the end so that people can find it. Yeah, on Bandcamp, where the new self-titled EP is available. You teamed up with Chris Adler, that people obviously remember from Lamb of God. It's a great combo. But let me just ask you straight up, is this a one-night stand? Are you guys engaged yet? Are you talking marriage? Where does this project stand?
I am so glad you asked that question, because here's the thing. The new music model for us dudes who've been doing this forever, right? It used to be you could put together a band and go right to work. Well, these days everybody's trying to kind of keep a lot of balls in the air thanks to things like Spotify, because the money doesn't come in the way it used to. So you get bands like I know like Billy Sheehan's in 3 great bands.
Sure.
And by doing that, you're able to keep doing what you love doing. You're able to play music for the people, and you're able to actually make a living at it, as opposed to just kind of sitting there and doing one thing at a time. I've tried to do that with people over the 3 or 4 years, since I've been doing other things, and it's impossible to get schedules to coincide.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time we've actually hit on the magic formula. We've got one guy who lives down in San Diego who basically just kind of works in town out of his home, the guitar player, Myron. Girish Paradim, he's in India, so we got him locked away, and he's our singer, and he's amazing. And Chris and I are basically just kind of like at this weird juncture in our lives where we're going, well, what kind of music do you want to make? What kind of music do you want to make? We met up doing this overseas thing, this all-star overseas thing called Hail.
Oh, yeah, I remember Hail.
Many times before.
Yep.
Right. So this time it was with Chris, and I'd met him before when he had toured with Megadeth when I was in there, and Lamb of God had been part of that package. And he seemed like a really nice guy, but I didn't really get to know him. So now, flash forward to, last 5 months ago, and there we are in Bahrain playing together, playing our favorite metal hits, which is all that band really does,
yeah.
and having a great time. And so I asked him, I said, okay, so what's going on, now that you're out of Lamb of God? He goes, I'm just feeling things out. I just want to see where the music takes me. So the next thing I know, he's sending me these emails with music on, and some of it's really obscure stuff. Like, I didn't expect it. I thought it would be, more in keeping with what he'd done, but it's very different. And so to make a long story short and give you a little more time here, he got together these people just through happenstance. I had told him, I said, if you ever want a bass player for whatever you're doing, I would love to be that. And sure enough, all of a sudden we started exchanging files, musical files. Mm-hmm. And this thing is like stone soup, man. Everybody puts in their 2 cents. We don't really have meetings about it because we don't really live with each other. And every time somebody sends their part of the song to somebody else, it's like met with cheers, as opposed to, the usual, hey, that's not what I had in mind. This is like, we all seem to work very well together.
Yeah.
Yes, this is almost a marriage, I think.
Okay, all right. So I'm not trying to rush you or anything. I understand you want to take your time. You don't want to put out on the first date, otherwise the other guys aren't going to respect you. But there are so many projects, and like you said, Billy Sheehan's in multiple bands. Obviously, Mike Portnoy was in the same boat years ago when he left Dream Theater that Chris is in now. He was in a marriage forever in that band, and now he's just sort of kind of gone wherever the wind's blown and been able to just have fun and experiment and explore different styles of hard rock and metal. This is I guess, this sounds like a truly international band, which is kind of fits in with what you were saying. You and Chris playing over in the Middle East, and which is a tricky area, James, for metal, because there's bands actually being sentenced to jail in countries in the Middle East for playing heavy metal. I don't know if you have any insight on that.
Got it. You pick your spots, man. You go where it's safe. Yeah, there's a certain amount of risk to go there, but we were in Bahrain and we were in Dubai, so that's not like the Middle East. That's like going to the middle of the desert and with tanks to guard you. So, but there are there's rock and metal fans there, and there are metal bands there too. I actually went to a couple of clubs in Bahrain and jammed with the local talent. And you'd be amazed what's going on out there. And it reminds me of. It reminds me of the 80s, back when, metal as we know it was kind of really young and just kind of forming what it was. You see a lot of younger bands like doing cover stuff and doing their best. That's going on out there right now.
Yeah. So I guess, from what, doing a little homework, are you guys considering this a band with a bit of a message to it? Is it a political band? Is this are you like Firstborn against the machine? What's the story here? Well,
it really, as I said, this is kind of a stone soup thing where everybody kind of throws their 2 cents into it. And Girish has been writing most of the lyrics, if not all of them, I think. I'm not sure who's been collaborating with them. I know we've had some cleanup, but, his heart is in a beautiful place because he's sitting in a place looking at the world from a different perspective.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people these days are kind of questioning, how do we all coexist? What's been missing? Why are things falling apart so readily, here and there? And I think the purity of his lyrics are based on, we can do better. We can do better with each other. It's Buddhism, Christian music. We're not branding ourselves like that in any way. But the point is, for the greater good of mankind, why don't we just look at this stuff and sing about it and put it up front? I think Dio did that in a lot of his songs too. The tattered, repressed. How do we rise up against what's kind of keeping us from finding happiness and mutual consent with the world?
Yeah, and of course nowadays, and I want to go back to something you brought up earlier about the business model now for selling music. Because with the streaming now, it seems like the head of Spotify is now sort of under the gun for basically coming out and telling bands they have to put out, an album every year pretty much, or, 3 albums a year. And all the musicians are fighting back. It's like, well, we wouldn't have to if you paid us more than 0.0047 cents
Is this like
per
cable?
stream.
Can I say whatever I want?
Yes.
Fuck him.
Yeah, well, that's been the resounding response.
Right away. God, if he gets into a room with any one of us, man, he's not going to be very happy about it. That is just, this is gluttonous, man. He should be in jail with Bernie Madoff. He's robbing us all blind. And you know what? There was no way out of it. I know everybody enjoys the convenience of MP3s. I do. But the point is that, we used to be able to take months and months, if not a year or 2 years, and if it took 5 years, we could sit there and make a piece of art for people that would last forever. You wonder why music is turning so disposable. It's part of this consciousness of just, music's just, it's for the moment, and that's, you and I grew up in a time where, where we would have an album and that would be our life for a month, and then we'd carry that with us for the rest of our lives. This kind of business model is cheating people out of that experience, and it's propelling people past the art of it, which is, sadly, where we're ending up. And, you can only rebel so much. I mean, if popular taste wants that's fine, but I don't, exacerbating it through greed, I don't really think that's, a noble pursuit.
Well,
unless you're greedy.
Well, apparently he is. So, but also the timing of the comments, James, because to kind of to put down bands in that way right now, when nobody's touring, when really the times are as tough as can possibly be for musicians, to come out with a statement like that. Yeah, it's just really disheartening when everybody should be kind of banding together.
Right out from under us. It's bad enough. You're absolutely right. And people want to see music. I know that. I do, but we just can't right now. And so based on that, okay, so, what do we do? I have a lot of other things I can do. I've got a video production company. I have all these things that I've always done. And, being a bassist, not being the lead singer guy, it's good to have another skill set, in between gigs.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of my friends out there who just, they are what they are. And, the world loves them for that, and they don't have options like that. And so, hopefully they've been able to put away a nest egg so they can survive, but that's not usually the case. Usually, we do this because we love it, and we spend a lot of our own money just to keep it going, just because, it's worth it to us, to live our lives this way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this thing of like everybody's Mick Jagger, that's just not the case. Your favorite musicians struggle just like you do, but they bring it to you.
Oh, yeah. So let me mention again that the Firstborn self-titled EP is available at Bandcamp. So you go to firstborn.bandcamp.com and you can check out the new EP. I listened to the whole thing last night. It's excellent. Great heavy stuff. And again, obviously you don't have to be political. You don't have to dig into the message. I love a band like Rage Against the Machine just for their music alone. I'm not worried about the message. If you're into a message, that's fine. But no, this is just good, straight up heavy metal. And hopefully, like you said, we're working towards a marriage. We'll get some more tunes. There's 2 videos up that you can see. We played a little Primordial earlier. And I forget, what was the other tune that there's a video for?
Roll the Dice.
Okay, Roll the Dice. So look for those.
We just finished another song just yesterday. I mean, this band is prolific beyond reason, so there's plenty more coming.
That's great. And it's amazing, James, from, your first days in White Lion to today where, I'm sure when you guys wrote, you all got together in someone's garage or in someone's basement and you worked together. Now you got a singer over in India. I'll send him a file. Chris is in Georgia. He'll send me a file. And you could still make a record. And guess what? If you didn't tell anybody, they really wouldn't know the difference.
Well, that's the plan, John.
So life is good now, and you've seen all those phases in your very long career. What's going on with you and Fogarty?
Fogarty's on the same hiatus the rest of the world is.
Right, you're still an active member, right?
Yeah, we're slated for Vegas in November, but that probably might not happen, of course. Hey, man, it's kind of nice to take a rest, but he's not that kind of guy. John loves to play, even as his age. He doesn't mind getting up there at all. He gives it his all. So it's been a real thrill ride for me to be his bass player for 6 years now. He's just an amazing musician and a wonderful inspiration.
Oh, listen, if I had that song catalog, I'd want to play every night too.
You know what, man? I'm driving in the car and, like either down on the corner or one of his hits come on. And I've been playing this stuff for 6 years, night after night after night, and my arm instinctively still goes for the volume knob. That's how great these songs are. I never get tired of them.
Absolutely, yeah, timeless stuff. So, well, good luck with the new band, man. Psyched.
Thank you. Let me just say, if you want to go online and find out what the band's about, it's the Firstborn with an E at the end.com, and you can go to our website and see who's in the band and what we're doing.
Right. Yeah, I think most people are obviously familiar with yourself and Chris Adler, but yeah, I know your guitar player is he's like a Steve Vai type, and your singer's just wow, what a powerful
He's got
voice.
it all, man. I'll tell you what. When I first heard him, I was floored, and I still am. Like every time he sends a vocal, and I get to hear it, I'm going, he has the chest of Ronnie James Dio. He's got the range of Judas Priest. His name's slipping out of my head. I'm getting old. Thank you, of Halford. And he's got the swagger and the blues of just about anybody from the 80s and 70s. And, he's really remarkable. And I remember when Chris found him, he was doing a clinic tour right after we had played overseas. And he calls me up and he goes, I found our singer. And I go, how is that possible? He goes, they assigned this guy to me to do shows, clinic shows. And he started singing. He opened his mouth. And I was like, do you want to sing some songs? So that's what we get, man. Girish Padam.
Well, again, good luck and best to you and your family as always, man. I love catching up with you.
Love talking to you too, John. And Chris really felt bad. He really wanted to be on this today. He told me I could read you the text that he just sent. But he's doing good things. So God bless him, and we'll move on and make more music for the masses.
Yeah, well, as you and I know about Chris, behind the drums, he's an absolute beast. But if you know him one-on-one, he's such a sweet and humble guy. And it does not surprise me at all that he's doing charity work. The Homes for Humanity thing. That's really cool to hear. So best to Chris as well, and give him my love, and we'll talk to you down the road, brother.
Beautiful, Don. Carry on. Great being here. Thank you.
You as well. Bye-bye. All right. James Lomenzo.